I just had a really bad feeling.
He said, I've got another call, I'll call you right back. And I'm still waiting.
The teen said he was going on a camping trip but never returned.
I'm Nico's mom. I'm doing this because I want to find my son. He was very rambunctious.
I thought he was funny.
I introduced him into wrestling.
I think he was 8 years old when he won the national championship. He did not like anybody being bullied, and he would stick up for that person.
One day I was taking pictures of Nico and his little sister, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that this might be the last time I take pictures of him. It was shortly thereafter that he disappeared.
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he pulled in with the truck and one of his buddies in the truck with him. I never met the kid that I saw in the vehicle that day that I later found out was Robbie Knight.
They didn't like each other in school, and I found it odd that Nico was with him.
Nico said, well, we're going away for the weekend. Met some girls online, and we're gonna go up to Niagara Falls area, and we're gonna go camping with them. I said, you're going camping way up there with some girls that you don't even know?
Nico had never been anywhere without family.
I said, where'd you get the truck at? He goes, oh, it's Robbie's grandfather's. He came up to me as he was leaving, and he put his arms around me and gave me a big hug for longer than he normally would. And I just pulled back and I looked at him. I said, everything all right? And he says, yeah, everything's good. He says, I love you. I'll see you this weekend.
My brother was alarmed enough that he called me.
I don't know what it was, but I just had a really bad feeling.
I went to bed and thought, oh, what is he up to now? I went to work Saturday morning, and my sister did here with me at that time.
One of my clients came in and asked if we had seen the paper that day.
And she said, did you guys hear about that stolen truck?
My sister Monica, the color just drained out of her face.
So I got a hold of Robbie's grandmother, and I said, well, does Robbie have your truck? And she said, we don't have a truck. And right then I knew that those boys were involved in the theft of that truck. And I said, those boys are in trouble. And she drops the bomb on me that Robbie had supposedly arrived in Michigan that morning. And I said, well, where is Nico? And she said, well, we don't know. No one saw him.
Robbie was explaining how he got there and had brought up Nico, and they wanted to know where Nico was or what happened to Nico.
And during that interview,
Robbie had some kind of breakdown and was taken to a mental hospital.
But after they released him from the hospital a couple days later, he was dead.
we were told Robbie died of a drug overdose.
So there were years of wondering, did Robbie Knight do something to my son on the way to Michigan? Did he dump him out along the side of the road somewhere?
He was the last link that we knew of to Nieko.
We had determined that his phone had traveled to Franklin, Tennessee.
From what we have learned, Nieko had a friend, an acquaintance who lived on Flintlock Drive, who also told us that Nieko had been there and visited and stayed overnight on October 1st, 2011.
I felt if the police aren't going to Tennessee, I'm going to Tennessee.
The young man told us that Nieko arrived at his house. He told us 3 different stories. The first story was that Nieko arrived on foot. The second story was someone had dropped him off at the end of the street. And the third story, I think, was maybe somebody dropped him off at the house. None of the stories were the same.
We walked out of that house that day, and I was just sick. And I said, no, there's something going on here. I said, they know way more than what they're saying. And I honestly felt like, is my son chained up in their cellar? Or is he in there buried in their backyard? I decided I'm calling the commander of New York State Police. I said, there's been no contact from Nieko, and I want something done.
New York State Police held a press conference in Franklin, Tennessee, asking for tips on the whereabouts of Nieko or any kind of information.
And Thursday evening, they called me and told me they found the truck.
After almost 5 years of dead-end leads, police finally found the pickup truck that Nieko Lisi had been driving when he went missing.
It was in a garage, and it had been totally torn down. The engine was gone.
We thought, this is the break that we've been looking for. We're gonna find out what happened to him.
The property in Nashville, Tennessee, where the truck was found, is owned by the same family that I talked to the son on December 18th of 2011. And that truck was in that garage the whole time. New York investigators and the Franklin PD detective had asked Nashville Metro to process the garage as a crime scene, and they would not do it. I do not know what the reasons were. The boy that lived in the house where the truck was found, he died in 2014. I also learned that there was another boy named that helped in destroying the truck. That boy is also deceased. So we have Nieko missing, we have Robbie Knight dead, now we have people in Tennessee dead.
To be quite honest about the investigation, disappointment doesn't begin to cover it.